Hi, so at last I can do a video that's a bit more positive about what's going on in BFA. I did a video a short while ago about getting Azerite gear from Mythic Plus Dungeons, and I basically said there were 3 ways in which they could improve it. Any variation was simply that, a variation on those themes, and I discussed what I thought was my preferred option, and Blizzard have gone and done it. So the issue with Mythic Plus Dungeons and getting Azerite gear, for those who don't know, is that Azerite gear cannot drop in the Mythic Plus Dungeons. The only place you can get it is in your weekly cache. But the thing is, there's so much loot available there that the chances of getting Azerite gear is slim, and the chance of getting the piece you need is minuscule. So what I basically said is there's 3 ways they could deal with this. I said they could allow the Azerite armor to just drop in the dungeons. I know a lot of people wanted that. There's a lot of downsides to that, but I'd already discussed that. They could also give us, as we expected in the beta, sort of, a significant chance of an additional piece of loot from the weekly cache. But if we got that additional piece of loot, it would always be an Azerite piece. That way you'd probably get an Azerite piece every couple of weeks, something like that. That was not ideal either. What I said was the ideal one, but I didn't really think Blizzard would do it, is you use a currency. You know, it could have been Hydrocore because you get that from Mythic Plus Dungeons. But then I know there were lots of people going, no need for cauldrons. But you have a currency, and when you've got enough of it, you just go to a vendor and go, random piece of Azerite gear, please. That's what they've done. So I'm just going to go through what the post said on the US forums. When I started to read it, I was a little bit concerned, I have to say. So it started off like this. It says, throughout the discussions regarding Azerite armor, there's been a lot of talk about how you earn Azerite pieces from Mythic Plus Dungeons. Players have told us, and we agree, they've only just decided to agree, but anyway, that the process of earning Azerite armor through Mythic Plus feels overly based on luck, and that there isn't enough control in the player's hands. Even with our bad luck protection systems in place, really, the sheer number of potential Azerite pieces you can get from weekly chests means that trying to get hold of a specific piece feels hopeless. Now, I was a little concerned when I read this because I thought, well, that's not really the problem. The problem is that we're not getting Azerite pieces at all. Because when I read that, it was like, oh no, they're going to allow it to drop in individual dungeons. But no, rescued the situation. I'm very happy about this. It says, first, we're adding a new, as yet unnamed, currency, so it's not going to be Hydrocore, your cauldrons are safe, which you'll earn from your weekly Mythic Plus chest, as well as from scrapping or disenchanting epic quality Azerite armor. Now this is quite good, because my concern with any currency-based system was that it might encourage people to have to run more Mythic Plus Dungeons than they really want, because to get more of the currency. This is good because that's not doing that. It's going to drop from your chest, your once a week chest, not from the chest at the end of the dungeon, or from scrapping epic quality Azerite armor, which of course you can get from world quests as well. This currency is rewarded in addition to the item in the chest, which can no longer be an Azerite piece, and you'll see why that's actually a good thing in a minute, and the amount you earn will scale up based on the highest level keystone you've completed. For example, completing a level 10 keystone will reward you with about 3 times as much as clearing a level 7. Similarly, scrapping higher item level Azerite pieces will give you significantly higher amounts of this currency than lower level pieces. Okay, so if you're a raider as well, you're going to get more because you're going to get Azerite armor from the raid that's no use to anyone else. You can't trade it, or no one wants it, and you can scrap that and you'll be getting more than someone who's just doing Mythic Plus Dungeons. I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that. So it goes on to say, to spend that currency, we're bringing back an old friend, Thaumaturge Vashrin. He'll have 2 main types of items for sale. The first are caches that reward a random dungeon Azerite armor piece for a given slot. So you choose head, shoulders, or chest. It was a bit like, you know, the same guy in Legion, where you chose, okay, I want a trinket, or for the relics. The relics is probably a better idea, because you could say, I want a fire relic, or a holy relic, or a shadow relic. It says they'll be separated out by item level as well. So 355, 370, 385, with higher item level caches requiring significantly more currency to purchase. So I guess the idea is that if you're regularly doing plus 10s, that, you know, as in week on week, you'll be able to get enough of that currency fairly quickly to get a 385. However, if you're only completing like +5s, +6s, something like that, then you could save up and get the 385, but it will take you a lot longer, is how I read that. So that's okay as well there. Then it says, but we recognise that with 6 or more options per slot, this may still not be enough control for high-end players who want to be able to work towards a specific piece that perfectly complements their build. Thus, Vashrin will also offer item level 385 versions of the specific dungeon Azerite armor pieces for each class, sold at a premium. Now, I'm not too sure about that one. I can understand a lot of people will be quite pleased about that. And of course, we don't know what the premium is. It could be quite a lot, to the point where, you know, I don't know how much longer that might take. It might be, if it's like twice as much, it'll take you twice as many weeks to be able to target it. But of course, that would still be worthwhile. But I'll come on to some more thoughts about that when I've gone through the rest of the post. So it says, we're still nailing down the exact numbers. Yeah, I understand that. But our goal for tuning this new currency is that you'll be able to purchase one of the Azerite caches that lines up roughly with the item level of the gear you're getting from your Mythic Plus runs every 2 or 3 weeks, with the specific 385 piece as long-term goals for top players. So what I read into that is, it depends on the look, isn't it? Maybe if you're, you know, a Mythic Raider or even a Heroic Raider, I guess, and you're getting a few pieces of Azerite gear from those raids that you're not able to trade to anyone who can use it, so you're scrapping it maybe every couple of weeks, whereas for people who are just doing Mythic Plus Dungeons and, you know, their source of the Azerite armor is just world quests plus, you know, well, that'll be it, I guess. Then more like 3 weeks. And then it says about long-term goals for those players. It might even be that to target, to actually get the piece you want, maybe it takes 3 times as much. Maybe it is a proper long-term goal. In which case you could probably think of it as each tier, maybe you'll be able to target 2 pieces. I'm only guessing, I don't really know there. And then finally they just sort of said as their summary, overall we believe that this change will improve things in a lot of ways. Mythic Plus players of all skill levels will now have a clear path to upgrading their Azerite slots. Yes, good. High-end Mythic Plus players will have a way to target specific Azerite pieces to optimize their setups. The downside to that, of course, is you're going to have to wait much longer to do it, because remember, you've got now 0 chance of getting it from your weekly cache. So you are just having to wait till you've got enough currency. Duplicate or unwanted Azerite pieces from other sources, such as raiding, now have some additional value. Yeah. And the piece of gear in your weekly chest will have a more reliable item level. Yes, okay, so all this is perfectly true. Now, what I was going to say about the idea of specifically targeting it. So the idea of having this currency, this alternative currency, that you go to a vendor and say, look, I want a shoulder piece, please. That's exactly what I suggested would be the best thing to do. So I'm very pleased that they've done that. Like, super pleased. The bit about being able to have a specific piece, this is where I've a bit... it sounds okay, and I don't think anyone will moan about it, and I think it's fine. All I would say is, if they'd have had the system from the start, whereby you have this alternative currency which builds up, and you can go to a vendor and get a piece, if they'd have just a random piece from the slot you choose, if they'd have just done that from the start, I don't think anyone would be complaining, or I say anyone, obviously people will always complain about everything. I don't think there would be a significant number of people making serious complaints about getting Azerite gear from dungeons. That's just my feeling. So, from that point of view, I don't think they needed to allow us to just buy the piece we want. Now, I accept that what they're saying is that if you do decide to go down that path, that it is going to take you a while. They've already said they're aiming it to take 2 or 3 weeks to get a random piece. And then they've said a long-term goal for the specific piece. That suggests that you're not spending this currency, even on random pieces, for quite a while. Now, I mean, again, I suppose it comes down to your luck if you are doing raiding or anything like that as well, because you've got a variable source of this currency from disenchanting those other Azerite pieces. And if you're a raider, you're probably going to get access to more of those pieces. It may even be that kind people in your raid group, particularly if you're in a guild, if they have their BIS pieces, but your BIS piece drops in a dungeon, they may even donate their Azerite pieces to their fellow raider to say, here, scrap this for some extra currency. So maybe those people will be able to target it a bit more quickly as a result of that. So it opens up all sorts of ways for even raiders to be able to target the traits they want. I just don't think it's necessary, but I'm certainly not going to criticize it, because at the end of the day, not only will this sort the problem out, but it is the solution that I advocated. So I'm not going to criticize it. I think it's fantastic. And I just hope that they apply the same sort of thinking to some of the other issues surrounding other bits of content. And they could well rescue this in 8.1 if they just do that. They could well rescue it. So, positive video. Early in the morning. You can tell it's good news as far as I'm concerned, because I'm smiling at a time when I normally wouldn't even want to be up at this time. But I woke up, saw on Twitter this thing. I thought, oh, I'm going out anyway this morning. So I thought, oh, better get it out there. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and share. In particular with the comments, comment down on what your thoughts are. Do you think this is going to solve the problem? Is it a solution, even if it wasn't your preferred one, that you'd be happy with? Until next time, I'll see you later.